Recognized, Uncle Walker, D01. Recognized, Emily of Arden, D12. Recognized, Joe Moniac, D05.
Hello team, welcome back and thanks for joining us for episode 17 of Whelmed Season 4. My name is Rich and with me is my co-host Emily and producer Neil.
Hey everyone, in these review episodes we'll be diving into the plots, characters, Easter eggs, comic book history, and everything else of Young Justice, and use all of that as a springboard to talk about the creative writing process along the way.
Our review segments will avoid any major spoilers for later episodes, but we'll be discussing them in detail in our final segment, Crashing the Moat.
What will you do next, Onyx? Lord Orin.
Raise my son, support my wife and her rule, and I believe I will also rejoin the Justice League.
I will, of course, relinquish the title of Aquaman.
If the League can include 4 Green Lanterns and 2 Flashes, I believe it can embrace 2 Aquamen. Or 3.
And with all that out of the way, let's hand it over to Emily for...
Hello, Megan!
The title of this week's episode is Leviathan Wakes. The release date is April 7th, 2022. The in-episode dates were June 6th and July 3rd and 4th. The writer was Kari Payton, the director was Vinton Hoyk, and the voice director was, as always, Jamie Thomason.
Special guest voice credits include Robbie Damon as Wind,
David Kay as Arian, Vandal Savage, and Rius Nereus.
Phil Lamar as Orin and Calvin Durham,
Yuri Lowenthal as Lagan,
Kevin Michael Richardson as Naboo,
Mark Ralston as Lex Luthor,
Tia Sircar as Delphise and Chian,
Roger Craig Smith as Orm,
Kath Suki as Mara Nereus and Laura Lamaris,
James Arnold Taylor as Topo and Nanu Sha'ark,
and Lauren Tom as 13.
Just in time for your next mission.
This week's episode opens in Poseidonus, where King Orin meets with the clone of Ocean Master, who's in prison, and Miss Martian is able to telepathically confirm that Orm has no further knowledge about who or what he actually is or why he was sent here. After the credits, a full month later, the crowds in Zebul are still demanding that Arian be crowned High King of Atlantis, and everyone in charge is worried about this unrest resulting in a full-blown revolution. During a heated debate, Mara points out that Arian could very well be the prophesized true king, but as Lori Lamaris reminds everyone, that this cannot actually be determined without Arian's lost crown. Cut to Calder and his team who've been searching the Undersea for just that for the past month. Lagan's worried about his family, Calder's throwing himself headfirst into the mission despite his pain and grief, and Wind and Delphise are both stressed about Calder's stress. But all of that emotional introspection is interrupted by the arrival of a gigantic crab.
A fight breaks out between the Aqua Team and the giant crab, with Lagan risking his life to deal the winning blow. The creature's retreat then reveals an even deeper hidden area of the Undersea. There, the group discovers the ruins of the original capital of Atlantis, including what is clearly Arian's very dead skeleton, and they use their collective magical abilities to locate Arian's crown. But before our heroes can celebrate, they're ambushed by yet another gigantic Leviathan sea creature. Back in Poseidonus, the clone of Ocean Master finally agrees to allow Miss Martian to examine his mind and learn the truth of who he is. She senses Simon's work at play and begins to unearth the clone's first real memories. Meanwhile, in Zebul, the Atlantean delegates have gathered once again for a meeting to decide the next High King of Atlantis, with most of the group arguing in favor of Arian taking the throne.
In a series of flashbacks, we see the cloned Ocean Master's earliest days, witnessing Vandal Savage and the other supervillains, notably Jace is not there.
We only see 2 other ones. I didn't say the whole light.
I know. And other supervillains from the light discussing their plans for him while he was in his growth containment pod. We also learned that Ocean Master isn't the only clone here. The version of Arian we've seen throughout this arc is actually also a clone, one grown from the DNA found on Arian's old flute before the memories and brain patterns of the original Ocean Master were placed within its new vessel and taught how to masquerade as Arian. But just after dropping this bombshell, we see the council over in Zebul, unaware of these crucial facts, have almost unanimously voted in Arian as the new High King of Atlantis, just as Vandal Savage intended them to.
Back in the Undersea, the Aqua Team latch onto the giant sea creature and use their magic to force the creature into essentially becoming a battering ram, allowing them to both avoid being eaten and create a new escape route. With the crown in hand, Calder and his team get back to Poseidonis just in time to witness the cloned Arian announce himself as the new High King. Arian claims the crown from Calder, and when he places it on his head, he becomes connected to the Lords of Order, who seem to deem him unworthy and immediately disintegrate him.
Oh, what do you know?
The crown is thus drained of its power, and Mara presents this to the gathered crowds as indisputable proof that Arian was a false king, since the general public doesn't actually know about all that cloning business. And she announces Orin as the one true king instead. However, Orin refuses, instead declaring that Mara is the one who truly fits the prophecy. And with the backing of both the Council of Delegates and the populace, Mara is declared the new High King of Atlantis, an honor which she accepts with grace before announcing her plans to unite the diverse kingdoms of Atlantis and work to better the lives of everyone under her rule. Because she's a good choice.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Later, Orin announces his plans to rejoin the Justice League now that he is no longer king, and invites Lagan to take up the mantle of Aquaman alongside himself and Calder. Calder then reveals that he's decided to take a leave of absence from the League for the time being to focus on his mental health. Out on the War World, Vandal Savage is visited by Dr. Fate, who explains that the Lords of Order would never have allowed an agent of Vandal Savage to wield the power of order, and that the saga of chaos that he initiated with the sinking of Atlantis has finally come to a close, an assessment that Vandal clearly doesn't appreciate. And back in Poseidonis, McGann clears the cloned Ocean Master's mind of all psychic manipulation and programming. Orin then releases him from prison and offers him the chance to build a new life and start again.
We then get an emotional monologue from Calder, spoken over a montage showing us how everyone's doing post-arc. Orin enjoys some family time, Lagan meets his new baby for the first time, and Calder finally gets to relax with the people he cares about. But on the other end of the emotional spectrum, we cut to Superboy, somewhere in time and space. He's having a breakdown over failing everyone by dying and being a monster for killing Superman, before he sees the magic school bus fly overhead and decide that he's truly losing his mind. We then close on him having another hallucination, this time of Lex Luthor saying Red Sun, the trigger phrase from season 1 that shuts down his mind. And finally, over the credits, we see Calder begin talking through his grief with Black Canary in the memorial garden on the Watchtower.
Oh my gosh.
Much to discuss.
There was a lot happening in this one. A lot.
Aster!
Let's Aster it up. Let's do this.
Superboy, are you alright?
I'm fine. Feeling the Aster.
Okay, I'll kick us off. Not that we have to stay with my stuff, but I will kick us off with the log line because it is Calderon searches, Atlantis finds. That's it. That's the whole log line for this.
You know
episode.
what? I think it works.
Great.
It works.
Yep.
It works. It totally works.
The one problem that I have with these log lines is when I'm trying to remember which episode that I need to take notes on, and I go to the thing and I'm like, are we on 16 or 17? And I can't remember off the top of my head, and like I don't have the drive open yet. I'm just like, let me check the log line. Oh, never mind. Let me just let me just go check for real, because the log lines tell me nothing. They're fun. They're clever. I understand their purpose when these episodes were first coming out, but they make finding the episode you're looking for real hard sometimes.
Yes, they do. Well, let's stick with Neil stuff. What else you got, Neil?
Well, the other one that we had mentioned that I realized I didn't write down was that Kari Payton is the writer for this episode. It is,
I know,
his one and only Young Justice
Heck yeah.
writing credit, and it's a very good episode. So
yeah,
that's a lot. It's a lot to juggle on your first time out.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, kind of off mic. You were saying like, and then he went on to do stuff for Walking Dead.
No, actually, I am 100% wrong. This is his one and only writing credit ever that I could find.
Really?
And I'm just like, he came out swinging, and we're like, maybe this isn't for me. I don't know.
That's too bad, because this was a really good episode.
Yeah, one of my notes is just a huge shout out to Kari Payton for his phenomenal work in this episode, both writing and acting, because we always talk about like Calder often feels like he gets kind of overlooked and brushed off for how strong of a character he is, because he's just like the supposedly stable one and the adult in the room, but in this whole arc and this episode especially, he just commands such emotional depth, and the performance is great. And the fact that he also wrote it just shows that he really understands this character that he's worked on for so many years. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, he should definitely be writing more stuff. That was fantastic.
Well, and huge shout out to Roger Craig Smith, because I feel like up until now, your Ocean Master was like, it touched on almost like the comedic villain of just like that really over the top version of like, I am Ocean Master. Yeah. And it was like, I mean, there are certainly like there's times and places for that. I mean, it's a good villain, but like that moment when he realizes that he's a clone and like that quiver in his voice right after, you're like, oh, this dude is absolutely crushing it for this episode.
And and also just seeing him swim off, and you're like, how do you good thing there's some other clones to maybe help you process what this is, man. I mean, you send him to the you should send him to the surface with a business card for, Bowhunter security or something.
Head over to Geranium City. They probably got some counseling services there.
Uh-huh. I would think. Yeah.
Bowhunter security, Atlantis.
Excuse me, I'm looking for someone named Craig. Can you help me? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that boy's going to need some help. What else you got, Neil?
I mean, showing the, like, immediately helping us realize, because we jump ahead several weeks, but like immediately establishing, obviously that's true because of how well they work together. Like once something happens, they all immediately turn back to back. They all know their roles. Oh, we have an even quicker response time than last time. It was just a good example of like showing, not telling. And it's also fun to see your superhero people do superhero things.
Yeah.
So like, I think it was a good example of like showing their teamwork as well as like showcasing all of their abilities, and Lagan being Lagan. But I guess that's
I got notes. All of Neil's notes are my notes too.
Oh yeah. Well,
I also have notes.
His whole arc is just Lagan being like a positive Lagan instead of a negative Lagan.
I know. Like the whole time I was like,
growth.
good for you, Lagan. You know
growth.
what? Yeah. The whole thing where he was talking about like, man, the idea that I can't talk to Superboy and kind of reconcile all that is pretty terrible. And I'm just like, you know what? You go make me like you. You do it. Good job.
Well, the other one was that, like, and also seeing Calder being Batman. Either you're 100% here,
you're 100% here. It was almost an exact quote.
I remember the first watch and this watch. I'm like, do we not feel like sending him away though is like not the world's best idea? Like, you've been down here for 2 weeks, but like, are you able to easily access the the surface of the ocean floor? Because I feel like you were just sending that poor man back into caves that you've been going through for 2 weeks.
Right, exactly.
And I don't know that's nice.
Didn't we point out last episode that it's like, oh, our one easy path out just got sealed by rocks?
I thought so.
No. Yeah. Just send Lagan away. Yeah, no, I have a whole thing here about how as we've said, this is the arc of me going, Lagan has grown as a person and I like him now. But just seeing that he's able to be upset and frustrated, but also manage and moderate that. Like, we have seen him get frustrated in season 2. We have seen him get annoyed and upset and all of that. And he'll just, start screaming. Like, and he doesn't do that here. Even a little bit. And it's great. He's got it together. He's just worried about his family. He's having an emotional reaction to everything that they're all going through, but also has this other thing that is personal to him. And it's just like, I'm just worried about my wife. And they're like, okay, but we got to stay focused right now. And he's like, okay, got it. We'll be focused. Sorry.
And he's taking responsibility for his action, right? Because Aqualad's like, you didn't have to come, and that's okay. But you're here now. So take agency in your choice, and let's be here.
And the conversation that him and Wind have about how like Lagan is like, oh, I wish I could be more like Calder, and Wind is kind of like, yeah, Calder's great. Don't be like Calder.
Do you
right
really
now.
though?
Like,
yeah.
A very soft, don't be like Calder right now. Calder's having a time. We're trying to get Calder to act a little less like Calder. You don't need to be like Calder right now.
Yeah, it's that thing. I have a friend who I have in the past referred to as one of the strongest people I've ever known. And they've pointed out, and I appreciate the compliment. Also, kind of wish I never had to go through all the things that made me this way. I'm like, oh, yeah, good point. And then as soon as he was saying that about Calder, I was like, yeah, I could see that. Yep, he's super strong. Maybe perhaps he shouldn't have to be, all the time, What else you got, Neil? Anything else?
Showing each person's like overall affinity to magic is very funny to me. Like as they're getting closer and it being like
every single bullet point Neil has is one of my bullet points.
Wait for it. Oh, okay, Calder too. Yeah. Okay, yeah, he does.
There it is.
Eventually.
There it is.
It's just funny. I mean, and it just is what it is. It's just, but also to say like, okay, cool. Now we can use our bodies to triangulate and find the thing we're clearly looking for. But just to like, again, really good showing and not telling of just like, I mean, we know that obviously Calder's like doesn't have the same magical training, but it's funny to watch.
What I found interesting too is when Wind is using his abilities and stuff, it wasn't seaweed. That wasn't seaweed. That was like vines with leaves. Like when he was doing the thing where he grabbed a hold of them and they were going to ride on the back of the Leviathan. I was like, maybe that's me overthinking it. But like
that's your marine biology.
It's my marine biology. I'm going like that is definitely tree vines. That's like vines. That's like plants. That's surface plants.
Rich,
that's not
Rich, do
seaweed.
you know every single plant that exists in Atlantis?
No. But I do kind of know how seaweed works. But also like with Wind too. I mean, we don't know his background. We don't know that much about it, do we?
Not in the story. I mean, but it's also to say he didn't spend time up.
Exactly. So that's what I'm thinking too. Like maybe he spent time on the surface because
only a little bit. It's implied in season 3 that he doesn't go up to the surface world that much because he goes with Calder that one time. He's like, I don't know what this is.
Breathing's
breathing's weird,
terrible. That's right. I do remember that. That's right. Yeah, it's like it's okay. It's okay. I mean, Aquaman, Calder. Whatever.
There's
the
a reason I just keep calling him Calder.
Yeah. Who is he now? I do love the line where he's like, if there can be 43 Green Lanterns and 67 Flashes, I think we can handle 3 Aquamen.
If 12 people have been Robin.
Yes, exactly. I was like, yep.
Yeah, the team equivalent of that is if we've had 12 Robins,
right? Exactly,
and 3 Wonder Girls.
Exactly.
Jeez, yeah,
yep. That's funny. What else? You got anything else, Neil?
So I just did a funny D&D version. Is like apparently Arian's disguise and persuasion checks are all natural 20s because that guy he's selling it left, right, and center. You convinced the entire ocean nations that. But the smarter choice. But the smarter choice was to stay out and let them convince themselves.
Yeah. But also part of it is he's masquerading as a person that no one there has met and they have very limited records of. He could do almost anything, and as long as he isn't like deeply contradicting the 3 things they know about this guy.
It's almost like keeping your mouth shut's a better choice. But also in this kind of thing, like that's the harder thing to do. Like you have to like don't get in your own way, just be there, right? And then a couple of times saying like I don't really want this. See you later, bye.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes people draw to him even more. So, but yeah, at the end he was just like, we've never been brothers. I've got this power now. And oops, what'd you call it? Indiana Jonesing him at the end. Indiana Jones, Lord of Atlantis and the Last Crusade. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, even that was such an interesting thing because shout out onto the Discord for Red Rainer to having asked the question that I now want to ask the Lord of Order version of is like the Lords of Chaos were just like, I see the Clarion got dusted. He'll figure it out. I'm like, you didn't want to bring him back? All right. I mean, chaos for chaos sake. But my thought has always been about the crown of like, the Lord's Order didn't really want to track this down. Like they didn't see it as a problem. Or, I mean, did they just know the first person to put it on would just, and then we would just take it back. So it'll be fine. It'll work itself out eventually.
Right.
I think
I would want to track that bad boy down and be like, no one can have this.
I think it's the very like Lord of Order long game thing of being like, well, that piece is off the board for the next millennium. We'll worry about it when we have to worry about it. And the thing of just whoever puts it on, we'll we'll just make a judgment call then. And they do. Like, that's how I interpret it. Like, it wasn't just whoever put it on would be a problem. It was guy put it on and went, not that guy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. They're like, hey, I think somebody put the crown on. Let's take a look. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I wanted to be even more, because it's the Lords of Order, like even more pragmatic of like, oh, I see someone's placed the crown on their head. Is the helmet of Naboo still in action? Oh, it is. Okay. Well, then the person that put the crown on is dead. We can only have one. Sorry. The quota's been met.
Yeah. I'm sorry. We're going with someone else.
Yeah, the Lords of Chaos are just, sipping coffee over in the corner being like, hey, when we had 2, you got real mad. You don't get to have 2. We had 2 for 10 minutes and you guys tried to kill us.
10 minutes and like the whole world got upset.
So we're only each allowed to have 1.
Okay, order. All right.
If you're all about order, you got to play
It's
fair.
right. Exactly.
We had 2 because we don't care about the odds.
That's right.
They're 2 offices right across the street from each other.
Oh, okay. Now I'm picturing the office, but with Lords of Order and Chaos.
So the other one, this one is like, it's weird because it doesn't really bother me, but I mean, that's what we're here for. So the difference in animation style between the Leviathans and the people fighting the Leviathans is weird. Just, they aren't the same. And so then like, it's a weird, it made a little bit more sense when it was like the crab, because like they weren't as directly engaging it. But when it was the fish, it was like they're on it. And like that, the animation style of it is so different than the way everything else is animated. It's like, it's a little jarring. Still a very cool scene.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think that's really interesting that was your response, because my response seeing it was, my first thought was that animation could look much weirder. Like having seen this kind of thing in animation so often, of like when there's the really big thing that often gets like CGI'd in a 2D animation or something like that. Like my brain was like, could be way worse, and like didn't think about it beyond that point. Like I get what you're saying, and I totally understand it. And I'm sure if I went back and rewatched it, I'd be like, yeah, no, it's kind of weird. But the fact that my first thought was could be worse, like,
and mine was totally like, it could look just like them, right? Why wouldn't we do that?
And I actually, my brain went to like almost like a role playing game situation. I was like, that crab, it's not a monster. Like, it's not a bag of hit points that you're going to try and beat with a hammer or stab. It's just an environmental hazard.
Yep.
That's what that is. And the same thing with the giant Leviathan. As I was watching, I was going like, I could see how that gets resolved in a masks game where you're just like, yeah, we're not going to beat this thing. What can we do? Let's ride it like, dune worms and get us out of here, as kind of that. So for some reason, I felt like it was a little bit more, I see the difference you're talking about. I just felt like it was a little bit more of, it was almost as if it was more like just an environment, like part of where they were swimming through than a character. I don't know how to put it.
It's animated like a background instead of animated like a character.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Emily, for putting words in my mouth.
It's
that
like,
made sense.
it's kind of like those old if you watch like really old animated movies where, because it was cell animation, you'd be like, I know exactly what object is going to get picked up because it is actually drawn and not painted into the background.
The old Scooby-Doo episodes were like, oh, look, that trapdoor is going to open any second now. Yeah, exactly.
So it has a little of that vibe to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you.
Also, him not shouting "Ride the Lightning," really disappointed. No, don't do that, please. What happened?
You're not Kari Payton.
Woo! No, please don't let me write anything serious.
But I do think that scene is, again, what a lot of the stuff that they did with like Calder and that group is all showing and not telling for stuff. Like I really like that is Calder just coming up with like, I think this will work, and just stabbing a monster and electroshocking it into going the right way with no explanation to us, like verbally, if that is what he is doing. And you're like, that's cool. That's a cool plan that just comes together and works. And it's cool to see that.
Agreed.
It's all the magic stuff is cool. And it's cool to see all of the magic stuff without somebody having to like look directly at the camera and explain like, this is how Calder's magic works and this is what he's going to do. Because that would be bad writing. And this episode is written well.
Mm-hmm.
I also find it interesting going back to Neil's point about like, okay, so Wynn seems to have a more attuned to magic, and then Calder's at the end of this train of magic. Like, so his magic's not as broad, knowledge is not as broad, or something like that, if that's what that's trying to indicate. But then he ends up it doesn't matter. His training is just better.
My interpretation of that was the idea of like I have a note here that I forgot to say when we were talking about it, but the idea of like Wind and Delphis have like trained with magic as a mystical force, whereas like Lagan kind of is just built like that, and Calder canonically has focused more on just doing his combat strategies. He does not do magic as like a discipline. He does it as a tool that he uses for his specific set of stuff that he does.
Yeah.
Of like the electric eel stuff and the water manipulation. And like, that's what Calder does. Whereas I feel like it's implied that Delphis has been training more since getting to Atlantis to understand her powers and to understand how everything works. And Wind is just a magic user. Like there's a ladder of who has done what and how they connect with magic is how like I interpreted that. Not just Calder isn't magic, but that Calder uses it so differently that it's like he doesn't sense magic. He just does his 4 tricks.
Yeah, he's got a very narrow focus.
Well, it's deep versus wide, and I want to say that because we're in the ocean. But the idea that like
well played.
Wind like would be like an actual like his class is wizard, let's say, whereas Calder is like, I mean, dear D&D people or non D&D people, I apologize. I will try and help bridge this gap. But the idea that like you've taken an entire course, like a degree in magic, is what Delphis and Wind are doing. Calder took a couple classes, really enjoyed that, and then just keeps doing those like 3 things. And is like very good at those 3 things, but probably does not actually know a 4th thing.
It's like, so if we're going with this analogy, Wind and Delphis are wizards, Lagan is a sorcerer, and Calder multi-classed to have 5 spells.
Yeah, he's an Eldritch Knight.
Yeah. That's what he is, yeah. Except his stuff scales better.
Ba-dum.
All right, anyway, back to Neil. What else you got? Are you done? You got everything else? I know you had a few more things here.
So part of it was also like the crown mission. I still don't know that I fully feel like I understand how the machinations for that specific piece came together, because it definitely seemed like everything was going to work out in Arian's favor regardless. Like, was it just another play to hopefully get it to work even better? Like if Calder and the team didn't go for it, was somebody else going to go for it eventually?
I think it's just a bonus from his perspective.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Or there was like a longer term plan of like, once I am situated as King of Atlantis, I will send someone to go do this thing with the approval of Vandal Savage, and then we will get it and blah, blah, like either it wasn't important or it was a do that thing later. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, in the end, it also clearly helps fulfill the prophecy very specifically.
Right.
But yeah, because it's Orin who sends them on the mission secretly. So like Arian wouldn't know that mission is even happening.
Yeah.
Immediately figures it out once the crown shows back up.
I kind of almost feel like, and I don't know if this is just a headcanon or not, but the idea that like Vandal Savage didn't believe in the prophecy. He was just manipulating things to do what he assumed would make other people believe it. Like, part of me feels like Vandal Savage was like, that doesn't mean anything and doesn't matter to me, and it's just nonsense. But if it's what gets my plans to work, I'll just fulfill all these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One's destiny, comes on the road you take to avoid it. Like, he literally made the prophecy come true because he didn't believe the prophecy was real.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
how
therefore
I
it became
true.
So
like Vandal Savage had no, like, from my perspective watching this, like Vandal Savage had no reason to believe that like getting the crown would disintegrate Arian. Like, he's just like, this will just work because this is nonsense and I control all things, only for the Lords of Order to be like, no, you don't. You thought you were pulling the strings here? No.
That's the thing that was kind of odd to me too, because I mean, like, did he think there was just a genetic trigger for the crown? I
think maybe he thought anybody
I mean?
could put it on and use it the way that anyone can technically put on the Helmet of Fate and use it. Like,
Okay, I get that. All right. That makes sense. That makes sense.
He never wore the crown. He doesn't know the full implications of that crown or what it does. He's just like,
Yeah.
the one other touchstone I have for how this works. You put it on, you connect with a thing. I've never seen anybody disintegrated by the Helmet of Fate, as far as we know.
He's old enough that he probably would have known if that had happened at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
These are all just theories. Thoughts and theories.
We gotta talk about it. How did he get the flute? I just always kind of wonder.
I agree with you on the flute.
We do see him play the flute in Nometa Seer. He plays it, so like it's a thing. But at the same time, like
Took it as a souvenir thousands of years ago and just hung on to it.
Well, okay. So the thing was, he was like, even didn't he say something like, "I'm surprised, there was enough DNA left on this flute." So like, I mean, I assume he played it a bunch and then he probably put it away somewhere. Like he put it in something to store it, and that thing helped to keep it protected from the ocean water that would degrade the DNA over time.
Well, I mean, we see where he's about to put it back, and we've had allusions to it before, but once Dr. Fate shows up, we are given a much better look at that room. And yes, that room remains obscenely large with an absolutely absurd amount of what we believe to be DNA and Cybax of countless individuals.
So I guess what I'm saying is, like, when did he find it? Like, did he go immediately down and grab the flute as a memory of his son, or souvenir? Did he do that immediately? Because if Vandal did that immediately and then put it into like some kind of hermetic storage for a plan for later, okay, that's cool. But like if he went down to go get it later, or like this plan started coming to fruition, I don't know, 800 years later, and he was like, hey, I should look for some DNA. Does he even know what DNA is at that time?
He took the flute and he put it in a box, and then he put that box inside another box, and then he mailed it to himself.
Right. Exactly. But like he didn't know what he wouldn't have known what DNA was until everyone else knew what DNA was, I would imagine. So he wouldn't have known he could make clones until he knew he could make clones. So did he go down and try to find it then? We don't know exactly, I don't think. Yeah. It's an impressive amount of DNA to duplicate. And then he has to memorize everything that Vandal knows about Arian. I agree with Emily. Like, who in the modern day really knows anything about him?
Yeah,
it's like, who's gonna be like, what's his favorite color? Like, you don't know that. None of us know that. It doesn't matter.
Even like the check and balances be like, yeah, I mean that's old magic. That
exactly. Looks like old magic to me.
Yep,
we did it.
And how does that? Because he was trained by Wotan, so like, what does that mean? Is it that it goes through the filter of his DNA, and so it feels and tastes like old magic because it's old DNA? I don't know. It's very strange.
Superhero science.
Superhero science. I love it. Vandal's upset at the end of that episode.
Yeah.
He's real upset.
He's flute-snappingly upset.
He's flute-snappingly upset. Yeah. Stick around for fan service, because I think Neil's got.
Yeah, but we know where
Neil's got
but
some
we don't
stuff
need
on
the
that.
flute anymore. We know where his skeleton is. So.
Yep.
Oh,
again,
well.
Another nice touch of like, before we have fully revealed to the audience that, Arian's a clone and everything, we're like, wait, I haven't seen that skeleton before, but I know whose skeleton that has to be.
That must be like
we saw that flashback.
It's Chekhov's dead skeleton. That's got to be Arian. I think in talking about Neil stuff, we hit all my stuff as well. I think. What do you got, Emily?
I only got a couple more things because, again, we've covered a lot of what my notes were. But I do have a note I have a small note for the very end of the episode, and then a much larger note about Connor. So, what's new? So, with the credit scene that I think is so good. Made me cry rewatching this episode because it's so well written and also so well acted. Many shout outs to Kari Payton. But I love the way that shot is framed, of seeing as Calder talks about the formation of the team, you have in the same shot Kid Flash, Superboy, and a Robin, as he is talking about them being the original 4 people who started this team. And I know it's not the same Robin, but it's symbolic.
Yeah.
And it's good. And it's like, it's the thing of like, of course, if you're standing in that room, those are the people who are going to be on screen. But at the same time, it's also deliberate. It's very good. Like, Ted Cord is not in that shot.
No,
that's not what matters
exactly.
right now.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Well, even the way that they're framed of like Tula being a little bit closer to camera in the fore.
Lined up. Yeah, it's very good. It's good shot composition. We like our little things here on Young Justice. It's very nice. And then I have a very long note about not Calder. I have a very long note about Connor.
Stick around. Class is in session.
Because watching Connor have this slow mental breakdown over the season and rewatching it, I thought too hard about this scene and wrote a whole thing. So I'm just going to read it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So the progression of Connor's breakdown in the scene is just so heartbreaking to watch for me, because it's calling himself a failure for supposedly dying from his perspective because he made a promise that he didn't keep, and because he doesn't know if McGann lived or not. He doesn't know if he even succeeded in what he was trying to do. And then connecting that to being a violent monster. Because almost all of the times that we've previously seen Connor fail or jeopardize a mission have been because he was being needlessly violent or out of control. The whole arc with him having the patches in season 1 and all of that. So because all of Connor's previous failures have centered around messing things up for the team by giving into anger and losing sight of the mission, he's now created this mental pathway from accidentally getting killed by someone else's actions to I've failed those I love by not surviving to I am a danger to those around me. And that is gut-wrenching to watch and follow his train of thought through that, because that's how it's framed if you're paying attention to all of the things that they show and what Connor is saying. But it kind of sounds like he's just rambling. But when you focus on like everything he says and how it is presented, that is the exact pathway that he has created in this breakdown. And it kills me.
It's a believable pathway too. The number of times I've talked to kids or adults where like I see an interaction happen, and then the discussion of that interaction later, seeing how our brains will often put us into these positions, creating stories or parts that are inside ourselves about old interactions we've had or whatever, trying to overlay things or whatever. And I'm like, I kind of see how you got there, but like none of that's happened. None of that's true. Like but I see how it feels real. And so when watching him go through all that and then ending with Lex, it's like, oh no, that's not good. It's not good.
But it makes sense. Like when he was, those moments he was most lost, like that's where he ended up going with the shields or with, in many ways, the person that originally created him. Like, okay, so like, I'm going back to the source. What was the whole plan this whole time? Like, am I the weapon? Because in his mind, he's killed his brother, Superman. But it's like, oh, was I wrong this whole time? Every time I thought I was the other thing, I was wrong. And I have only ever been the weapon.
Or even just the thing of like him feeling out of control and his hallucinations giving him someone who simply takes the control away and goes, nope. Done.
Ooh.
Shut down.
Ooh.
And it's
Red
like that's
sun.
yeah. And that being how his brain processes and copes with that feeling. Heartbreaking. And again, it's rewatching these and thinking about all of this is really great for this arc, because watching all of these bits kind of week to week and everything, it's not just like a very simple like, oh, this character's going crazy kind of thing. Like there is a process to how Connor breaks down, and it is heartbreaking to like piece it out into all of the pieces that we see that cause that slow progression. And so that was my long note about Connor. Thank you for humoring me.
No, there's a lot of dots to connect, and it's done in such a short scene too. It's so tightly and well woven. Even though there's scenes in the past we've been watching this build up over episodes, like this takes it all and just congeals it down to bam. This is the state that he's in. And I agree with you. It's fantastic. Well, let's hit into I'm looking forward to this fan service that Neil's got up. And then we'll get into some Crashing the Mode.
I've admired your stance on animal rights for years.
In fan service, we take some time to highlight the amazing fan-related creations celebrating DC, Young Justice, and other creative works we think Young Justice fans will love. This week, Neil's got something for us.
So if you head over to Reddit, I commend you. And if you stay there, well done. So on our Young Justice from the user, Mr. Branch, there's 2 H's, so I got to add a little extra. They have created an outline of the Light's original plan, and at the time, some season 4 spoilers, because that's when this was created. But I felt like it was an important fan service, namely because I needed it, because I'm just like, you know what? Hold on. What is going on? Right?
There's so many moving parts.
Yeah, the machinations of a person who lives thousands of years is, you know what? Hard to follow sometimes for me.
Really?
And so it is literally a giant breakdown. Quick hits, certainly, you need to be fairly familiar with Young Justice as a property for this to help you. But it's nice to see it in one concise run of oh, okay, I see where these pieces are. Do I agree with everything on this? No, but...
Yeah. No, I took a quick look at it when you sent it out, and I was like, wow, this is pretty good.
I cannot commend their work enough, though, because...
Yeah, that takes some work. So we have a link in the show notes for them?
Yep. Well, you can head over and check out that outline, and maybe it'll help you watch this episode.
Fantastic. All right, let's crash the mode.
Tell us something we don't know yet.
Sorry, BB. We can't risk altering the time stream. We do that, we're all feeling the mode.
Our earlier segments assume listeners have only seen up to this episode in Season 4, and Crashing the Mode will be discussing spoilers and foreshadowing for future episodes, as well as plot elements from the original DC storylines that may affect what we see later on. We may also drop theories and speculations about what's to come based on Wild Flights of Fantasy. So, Neil, what do you got?
So, 2 flashes I fully understand, because we're literally going to see the next one in the next episode.
Right.
Because Jay Garrick is apparently still active enough. I was trying to figure out, because it's not 3 lanterns. I put 3 lanterns in my notes, and that's not true. It's going to be 3 Aquamen, and there are 4 lanterns.
4 lanterns.
Do not know who the 4th lantern is.
Kyle Rayner.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if Kyle...
Rich just has the answer.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's Kyle.
Yeah.
So but I can't remember now. I have a memory of Kyle and John being mentioned in a scene, but I feel like I might be thinking of a Justice League episode instead. So I'm assuming it's Kyle, but I don't know if we've definitely not seen Kyle. It's been Guy, John, and Hal. We haven't seen anybody else, right? Okay. So I think it's Kyle Rayner. And then he eventually becomes Ion. I don't know I think that's the name of the character he ends up becoming after he's a Lantern. I don't know if that's anywhere they're going with any of that in here. He became the Lantern. Kyle became the Lantern after Guy, I think, turned into what was it called? The Warrior? Is that right, Neil? We were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And when Guy became the Warrior, and then he got a Red Lantern ring, and then...
Earth is just like, yeah, we make them. We
just crank out the lanterns.
Printing them like money. It's fine.
Yeah,
Earth
so I'm
needs
assuming.
Earth's got some problems, man. This sector... They got the largest, the most dense collection of supervillains in the known galaxy.
Totally.
We got to have multiple lanterns there.
Well, they're like, yeah, these heroes will draw villains, so we require more lanterns. In turn, creating more villains, requiring more lanterns. We are stuck in a cycle.
There's a reason that the ring is a circle. I don't know what that metaphor was.
Done.
I said that with too much confidence for how nonsense it was.
Bonus fan service? I can't even remember if we've even mentioned this. If you haven't heard the Kirby Crackle song, Ring Capacity, speaking of all these lanterns, you should go and look it up and check it out.
I think that was one of your earliest fan services.
I think it's probably one of our very first ones, probably way back in
one.
Season 1, yeah. Just since it's been 8 years or something. It's been a long time now. So, Kirby Crackle's Ring Capacity and Jim's Big Ego for the Ballad of Barry Allen. If you don't remember those from way back in the day, you should go check those out. Those are both fantastic songs. Speaking of Flashes and Green Lanterns. You got anything else, Neil?
Well, I mean, the other thing, I could have put this earlier, but it doesn't fit as well. Man, I forgot how weird Arian's stuff is in the actual comics, because he looks like the quintessential. Oh, yeah. The quintessential wizard that everyone played in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah.
This outfit is it's obscene. There's no other word. This original outfit. Also, I was looking at his backstory for a minute, and then I thought I knew what was happening, and then a line says, Camelot falls. Like, it's in 1659. I'm like, I have no idea what's happening. I thought I knew where we were. He's like, I had a vision that Superman's going to blow some stuff up. So I'm going to send myself into the future and tell him, you need to retire because you're going to mess this up. He goes from Camelot times into the future to be like, Superman, quit. Stop it. I'm just like, I don't understand. Then you list his powers. He's just a god. He's just a god. Just
Is that what it says? It's a one bullet point and says just a god?
It should, because instead it's like enhanced physiology, immortality, power absorption, dark world empowerment, magic, all of it. There's literally a list like 30 sections long. That's not to say the psychic powers that he has on top of it. Don't worry about his abilities because they're the next section.
And in Young Justice, he's super dead.
Yeah.
Talk to fish. That's right. Swims fast, talk to fish.
Listen to my friends.
That's right.
Sharks.
I brought sharks to a fist fight? I don't know. Yes, exactly.
But yeah, the only other thing is that like this is the last we see of Ocean Master. And given how
as far as this season,
given how his redemption arc worked, I don't know. I just wish I would know more about like, does he go back and like clean up like that
Season
other
5
place?
spinoff comic?
Yeah.
Video game?
Yeah. Did you just go back to that bar and he's just a bartender now? Like super low key?
No, but we didn't talk about that much, but I do really like that is just a note in this episode of them being like, we can't punish, you're a clone. We've all established that clones aren't the people that they're cloned from. We've established this like 12 times with other characters, so we can't send you to prison for stuff that you technically didn't do. Go make a better life.
You didn't do them, and then the things you did do, you were mind control into doing.
Yeah.
So
we have legal precedent for this. Like,
this is awkward.
You got a clean title, but we're 100% going to arrest you next time.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, we're watching you. Don't you worry. But anyway, nice. Emily, you got anything? Oh yeah, Connor's not dead.
Yeah, that's my first note is something Connor's not dead.
Beast Boy is undoubtedly having a time.
Yeah, just off screen. We just didn't see him this episode. We will, though. My other note, I'm going to say this and hope it makes sense, because I think it does rereading it, but we're just going to say words. I think it is a nice touch in this episode that juxtaposes Connor's mental breakdown as his mind unravels in isolation with a subplot about McGann psychically deprogramming someone and freeing them from mind control and manipulation, because that's what she's gonna do in the finale for Connor. We're setting up building blocks so that they can come together. We're laying out all the puzzle pieces. And it's a nice touch that you don't really realize until rewatch of like, oh, these two things happening in completely different sectors of the universe. They're thematically connected.
It's nice when you have like, I mean, odds are low somebody's just going to watch season 4 without watching the first 3, but you know what I mean? That's a thing that can happen. So, I mean, because it's like, oh, I've got this power, I'll just clean your brain out. Might feel a little Deus Ex Machina, but it doesn't, though, because, you know, we're getting that reminder of the clones, the reminder of the mind control, the reminder of all this stuff. It just...
Again, these are things that I didn't think to put in my notes for the main episode, but like seeing McGann do this in this episode is such a cool progression of if you watch the whole show, as you do if you're listening to this podcast, showing how McGann has learned that over time, because we have seen in every single season her gain the building blocks to be able to do something that drastic. Because season 1, it's just like, I cleared out Red Sun from Connor's brain and we're pretty sure there wasn't anything else there. And then by this time it's like, hi, I was able to uncover your unconscious memories that someone else tried to wipe from your brain. And I can just do that without hurting you as long as you agree to it. And it's like, that's a wild progression of her learning control of her powers. It's cool. Have I mentioned that I think Miss Martian's cool? Have I done that recently? No?
I think you should.
One more time. Well, I think that's pretty much it at this stage, right? I think we got everything. We're getting closer to the end of the season now. We still have 9 more episodes to go. There's still a lot to happen, but there's not as much. Like, this one wrapped up this story arc pretty nicely, actually. Again, shout out to Kari Payton for nailing this finish. And then we'll see you guys in the next arc. With all that, I think we can Zeta out of the Watchtower.
If you'd like to join us in discussing this incredible series, you can find us on Twitter at the YJ Files, on our website, crashingthemode.com, and you can even email us at whelmedpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.
And if you'd like to support our show, please consider sharing it with a friend and joining our chats on social media. You can also support the show by giving us a 5-star review and or rating on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. The ratings, comments, and subscriptions help others find the show. If you do leave us a rating, please let us know at our email address or on social media, especially if you're outside the US, as we have to look a little bit harder to find those.
If you are able to support us monetarily, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/crashingthemode. Even $1 a month can help us bring you even more awesome discussion sessions, interviews, reviews, and more.
And remember,
stay whelmed, everyone. Hey, we were pretty close on that one. I was watching Neil's mouth and pacing him. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Side note. I leave all of this stuff in because I think it's super funny, and whoever gets to the end deserves a treat.
What stuff?
Whatever this is. I don't fix this anymore, by the way. I'm just like, it's not worth it. It's way funnier. If someone waits for us to say whelmed, they get a nice little blooper style treat right at the end.
What, all of our things overlapping and not making
sense?
Oh yeah,
I just leave it cut. I just leave it original cut, and it's just
got
like,
it.
Why do you change it every time? I'm like, and then at one point, for some reason, I yell Shazam at the end, and then the episode's over at that point. Shazam! And then the episode cuts out.
You've been listening to Whelmed, the Young Justice Files podcast. Our hosts are Rich Howard and Emily Booza. Our editor and producer is Neil Powell. Our theme was composed by Emily Mio. Our logo was created by Kevin Bates. Whelmed is a fan-made podcast and is not officially affiliated with DC Comics, DC Entertainment, Warner Brothers Animation, and any other owners of Young Justice or its related source material. As such, these companies have sole ownership of all symbols, images, names, logos, and proprietary material related to Young Justice. Original content of this podcast is ours under Creative Commons. Thanks for listening, and stay whelmed.